Hey, hello everybody, welcome to the sound test room. Today we are taking a look at a getting started guide for apeMatrix. Very cool indeed. So I'm going to take this quite slow so you can understand what's going on. So it's not going to build up a massive session, but I will take you through the whole thing and you should get a good idea of what's going on. First of all, I have my microphone coming in channel 1 of my audio interface and going out of 1 and 2 of my audio interface. To see any of these connections, just tap on this little one and you can select whatever you wish. It probably defaults to the stereo one. Anyway, that's where you set up your connections. This little dotted line around the outside is basically a feedback warning. I'll switch this off and my voice will go away. So if you're using this, for instance, without headphones or something, you're probably going to get some feedback if you're not too careful. Okay, now normally I will put my microphone on Bruce free to kill any background noise. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tap on this, hit the search bar. I'm just going to search for Bruce free and hit this and go connects. And then I'm going to connect it here as well. So I'm going to tap on this little intersection and you'll hear a doubling in my voice now. That means that we can turn this one off because it's passing through both the output and Bruce free. And I'm going to open Bruce free and I'm going to hold this for a few seconds while I don't talk. And what that does is Bruce free learns the noise and takes it away. So now you don't hear any background noise. Sounds very clean and it's great. Okay, so let's say, for instance, you wanted to add, you had audio coming in, if it was a guitar instead of a microphone, or it was a stereo instrument, like you choose 1 and 2 or whatever. And you want to add more effects. So let's add a reverb. Let's just open this now and clear the search tab by hitting this little X and choosing a reverb. Let's choose adverb. Okay, and just go connects. And you still won't hear anything. We need to connect it to the actual output. So once we do that, we've connected the adverb. Okay, and on you would go. We can turn down the actual output. So this is kind of your mix. You can click on them anytime and go in and make any adjustments and stuff like that. Well, I don't want that adverb there, and this is the same kind of thing. You know, we can increase or decrease the outputs and the sends and things like this. But that's how you carry on adding. You just make the connection along here to the actual interface. All right, so hold, drag down, remove, and we can click on those nodes. Now, it's just highlighted these because there's been something there. All right. At this point, you might say, well, what if I want also my voice and some other audio in here? Well, that's cool because we have 3 of these matrix windows, and you get to them by the bottom. You get them to the bottom, and you'll see that each one has its own audio input as well. So if you do want more than one audio input, you can do it with the other ones and it will still come through as normal. Okay, adding an instrument. Let's do this. So you add your effects and instruments down here as well. Okay, so let's do this. Add, and let's choose some sort of instrument. We can either search, like you said, or we can go into instruments here and look at the different instruments. We might want to go say, oh, okay, well maybe apeSoft's accordion. So same developer, and we'll go connects. Okay, and if we open this now, we can play it with this keyboard. Or we can open this keyboard down here. If you look down in the corner, it also has an internal keyboard because not all synths have keyboards, right? So let's close that, and that's fine. And if we wanted to add an effect to this, it's exactly the same procedure. So we tap on this and I'm going to add in, look at effects. I'm going to add in ape delay, which is the same developer again. We'll just connect. And what we want to be looking for this time is connecting the output to this, you see. So these are your inputs and these are your outputs. And we'll just go tap on that. And we'll tap on the little keyboard again. And you'll hear that that's now been affected by ape delay. And we could go in here and maybe change a preset out. Maybe this big grain drone sound. Now it's a bit harsh, so remember we can always turn it down. Or turn the volume of the instrument down. Turn the volume of the instrument up. So that's how you would add an effect. Okay. Now say for instance, I've got a little MIDI keyboard connected and I would like to play this accordion with my MIDI keyboard. Okay. So all we need to do is, you see down here, this is, first one here is a mixer. Okay. And you'll see it says bruise free, accordion, ape delay. You can do all your mixing from the mixer, as well as the nodes here. Remember, we can increase or decrease the outputs here. This one here is if you want to, it's presets routing. If you want to save presets for all this kind of routing so that you can just recall them anytime you like. Okay, so that's handy. This here is your Midi Patchbay. So this Midi Patchbay, and you will see that we have the internal keyboard, which we've just seen, which is this one here, represented here, and that's going to this. So if I take that node away, it won't be there anymore. But you see this indicates my MIDI keyboard. And if I connect that to this and play the little Arturia, I can now play it through this. So we can close the Midi Patchbay. And go in here and change the effect, but I can now all right, that's cool. So now I've got a nice effect there, got a good decent level. Can turn this down a little bit. Okay. So that's how you would add effects and control your MIDI connections. So let's take this a little step further. Let's put in a MIDI processor, so some sort of sequencer. Okay, I'll show you this stuff in a sec, but some sort of sequencer. So I'm going to open this now, right? And I am going to just search for Ortony. Doesn't always work, this doesn't, so let's go with all Ortony. There it is. So I'm going to open Ortony, so I'm just going to go connect. So Ortony is now there. Now we know Ortony is a sequencer. All right, so again, what we need to do, if I press play up here, you won't hear anything at all, nothing. That's because Ortony is a MIDI sequencer, we want to send our notes to our accordion sound. So we need to go into our MIDI bay here, and you'll see Ortony is being added, and its position where it's been added as well. Okay, so all we need to do now is connect, as we did with our internal keyboard. That we don't need that there. It's pointless. It's pointless connecting our MIDI keyboard to Ortony as well. Okay, but we want Ortony connected to apeMatrix. And now if we press play, Alternate is playing our accordion, and because I already have my MIDI keyboard connected still, I can play over that as well. And this is because, of course, the accordion is stereo. But we can disconnect that, and if I play the keyboard, nothing will happen. And we can stop that now. So let me just quickly take you through. So you have 3 of these to play with, okay? So 3 pages, and they will all sound, you know, you will hear them all at the same time. They're not separate kind of projects. You save your project by tapping on this and hitting save preset, and it'll ask you where you want to put it, sort of thing. Because this is kind of like a preset, and it will remember everything that you do here as well. Here you can switch off certain instruments. So if I play again and I switch off the accordion, it's obviously going to go away. Same token, if I switch off alternate, it will go away. If I switch off ape delay, you won't hear the effect. Okay. Now, here, this is latency. This little clock here is latency compensation. Some instruments, you won't really need to use it, to be fair, not unless you've got a session the size of a planet, you know, with a million things. You may get some latency, but iPads now are pretty powerful. You might get some latency, and you can compensate for these latency adjustments here, like this. But that's, you're getting into more advanced, and honestly, you'll hardly ever need to use it. And this is just, it's telling you latency compensation is disabled, and it will actually give you the total output latency is 1.54 milliseconds, which is nothing. Right, okay, on-screen keyboard. This section here is for your master and post-processing, so you can add effects to these, where it says matrix 1, 2, and 3. You can add independent effects to this matrix, and whoops, hang on a sec, this matrix. So, and that's what that is there. You add in effects, like you just tap on and you can add a, let's close this, an output effect, and you can add 2 of them. You've got choice of 2. So you can add 2 master effects at the end of any of the 3 matrices that you've set up. Right. Okay. Down here, if you tap on this, this is your metronome. You can have it switched on if you'd like, and then you can reset the levels. You can go and close this, further settings and details here for your, you've got Ableton sync start stop, that, you know, this is for your Ableton stuff going on. When you get more and more kind of better with it, you can be using stuff like that. So let's add one more instrument maybe. And this time we'll add a iPulsarette, which is another instrument from apesoft. So iPulsarette instrument. Now this is a lovely instrument. I'm going to go connects again. And this one I'm going to connect to my MIDI keyboard because we've disconnected the accordion. Let's connect iPulsarette. And I'll show you some of the very cool stuff that apeMatrix is possible with modulation. And it really is outstandingly deep what you can do with modulation, and it makes it super, super simple. So iPulsarette, so we're going to go into our Midi Patchbay here. And I want my MIDI keyboard here to be, which is this one, don't forget. We can disconnect the internal keyboard. My MIDI keyboard, which is represented by this 5-pinned in MIDI thing. Going to connect it to iPulsarette. And now as I play the MIDI keyboard, we will be playing apeMatrix. So let's open it up and have a look what's going on. So apeMatrix is a great synth. We can change some presets here. So let's have a look at what's going on. Let's open the effects. So you have all kinds of different things you can do. If we go back here anytime we like, we can change any aspect of the sound from this page here, or keep selecting different. Let's open presets. We could say like, oh, okay, what's going on with some from Tom. So I'm back now and I finally found a sound that I like. So if we go into any of these effects, like say for this, switch ring modulation on. See, I'm moving this with my mouse. Let's get the output of that up a little bit. Let's delay on. Now let's modulate this from within the instrument. So every single instrument, right, and sound inside, wherever you choose, whatever instrument, whatever effect, you will have these three little circles here that are connected, okay? So if you looked at this, you will see them three little circles. If you looked at alternate, you would see these three little circles, right? Tap on these three little circles. And remember, we want ring modulation. Tap on these three little circles. And all you need to do is find where it says this refers to the instrument, okay? So for example, if I open alternate and tap on this, you will see the available parameters that we can assign, okay? So it's the same for everything that you put into apeMatrix is locked into this kind of very cool modulation thing. So tap on this, and I want to be looking for frequency modulation, flat switch, frequency modulation, frequency. What am I looking for here? Hang on. Yeah, there it is. So frequency modulation, frequency, ring modulation, frequency, unassigned. Tap on where it says unassigned. Tap on this at the end. And this is your LFO. Look, you've got all these different shapes. The range. Speed. So when you're happy, just go done, close, and you'll see down there the modulation happening. We can hit play. Now it alternately is playing the accordion sound. And one more thing. Now this is self-generating sound, so we can turn it down a little bit. If we wanted to add, say, let me try and search for hammerhead. Okay, cool. This should be cool. Should give us some drums. Connects. If we press play, let's go and choose a preset. Let's make sure the let's make sure our main volume is turned down. Load preset, factory patches. Change the tempo. Awesome. And then we could bring in see now it's looking quite complex now, and if you've followed along you'll understand how all this works. It's really quite straightforward, and the more you use it, the more logical it becomes. Guys, thank you very, very much for watching. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, consider becoming a Patreon, and all our other cool stuff that you can do to help support me and Joe here at the Sound Test Room and what we do every day. Anyway, right, yeah, cool stuff. apeMatrix and bunch of other apps as well, just for fun, just as a general kind of getting started and a basic guide. But you can imagine you can do some very, very complex and cool stuff with this. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover up. This at the top corner here is settings. You can do all sorts of stuff. You've got general settings. You can change the color. You can set the buffers. All sorts of stuff. Like I said, I don't do too much messing around with all the complicated stuff because it can make it sound complicated enough. But we can change the color. We've got blue, pushing blue. Oh, blue's nice. Actually, we've got white, too light, too much for me. Black, pushing blue, blue, and purple. Hello, blue's nice as well, actually. So yeah, there you go. Thanks so much for watching, guys. It's tutorials, it's different samples you can use in different things. It's huge, but if you start with very basics like that, you'll be good to go. Anyway, I will see you later. Ta-ra.